Come get some.
Hello and welcome back to DO Gaming, where I do games, and today we are taking a little look at Nex Machina for the PlayStation 4, because I said I would. This is a title brought to you by Housemarque, the arcade gods that they are, and this is a little bit of a bittersweet video because they've also, nearly died, just announced that they're no longer going to be making arcade games. This is it for them. They're moving on. They say there's no money in it, and as well, you know, that might be true. I still find that sad because I freaking love these games. Like, they're just very, very good. This is a twin-stick top-down arcade shooter. Also, they didn't just make this on their own either. They corroborated with Eugene Jarvis, the man who brought us like Defender and Robotron and good stuff like that. I don't know how involved he was in the development, but yeah, I think he was working as a consultant, so he's had some sort of inspiration. And you know, they already used a lot of inspiration from his games in the past. Like, if you've ever played Resogun, that is Robotron as shit, and that is. Ooh, sorry, concentrating on playing whilst recording. What was I saying? Oh yeah, they also made Resogun, which is a very, you know, Robotron-y, Defender-y type game, and the exact same mechanics are back here, just in a twin-stick shooter format with a little bit of a different aesthetic. It's a very good aesthetic. This is a very pretty game. Like, I like the sort of Tron meets Blade Runner thing they've got going on here. And that whole voxel, and if you don't know what a voxel is, it's like a pixel but a cube. They call it voxel destruction. Voxel destruction in a cable punk? Yeah, self-coined cable punk. So basically cyberpunk, but with lots of cables. Cable punk world. Pin myself into a corner a little bit, you tiny bastard. Right, yeah, so I'll explain the mechanics of it a little bit to you. We've got here your little man in the middle, who is very little. Sometimes he's so little you can lose him, but never mind. You pick up power-ups, and you kill things, and that's pretty much it. And you save things. Kill things, save things, power up. There we go. See, that's just increased my weapon range, and I just saved a human. You get more points for saving more humans. They're not essential, but they are to getting high scores, and this game is all about high scores, because this is not a very long game. This is quite a short game. You can get through the whole thing in like an hour or so. Maybe even less. But it's got just endless replay value, and the game knows that, which is why there are endless amounts of difficulty modes. If you're the kind of person that played Dark Souls and went, oh god, this is a bit easy, well, this game's got you covered and then some, because the amount of challenge you can choose to have in this, like, there are, how many stages are there now? There are 5 stages if you're playing on Novice, there are 6 stages if you're playing on any other normal mode, and there are 7 bosses. One of those bosses is a hidden boss. You only get him oh shit. You only get him by completing expert mode, which is basically normal mode, and not using any continues. So I have come to peace with the fact that I am never ever going to see that boss. Like, that is beyond my skill level. I don't play these games religiously. Like, I'll drop into this, I'll play for like maybe half an hour every day. Sometimes I'll have a couple of days off, and that time away, and that sort of non-committal attitude towards it means I'll never be playing like top tier. Okay, some point. Oh Jesus, I love dropping back into this one, but the amount of time I spend away from it in order to smart bomb, in order to you know, play other stuff is too much time. It's not like riding a bike. If you stop playing this for a little while and come back to it, your skill level will have dropped dramatically. Oops! Oh fuck! Oh, it's fine. I got a shield apparently. This is the first boss you get to in the game. It's sort of just teaching you how to do things. It's not the hardest boss in the world. It looks a bit mental, but it's not actually that difficult. There we go. Pretty much dealt with and dealt with. Fuck! I wasn't paying attention. I got hit with a giant skull.
World complete.
There's a multitude of power-ups and things to be collected, so you can power up your base weapon by collecting different things, and they drop from like random crates or destroying so many types of an enemy in a row or destroying a specific wave of enemies. There are secondary abilities, which are like that, which is a little sort of shield, but it also does damage. You have a dash, which is your get out of jail free card, because that gives you some invisibility frames, and that is the most useful thing in the game, I think. That can be upgraded also, so you can do like a triple dash. You can get something called a dash explosion, which is where at the end of the dash you get a little boom, and it kills things like demonstrated there. Oh, fuck. So you've just got to be on the ball. Like, the game is fast-paced, but it's not too fast-paced. I think they've got that down. Like, there are faster modes to it. You can turn the speed up if you want, but the base speed is fine. Like, I've found no issues with it. It's frantic, but the controls are tight and responsive enough that you never feel like you're out of control. It's another one of them games where if you do cock up, it's always on you. There's always something you could have done. I mean, a lot of it's like memorization. You can learn these waves, so you know what to expect. Die. Fuck, I didn't quite get the last one. That is a little bit of a gripe. It's not a... Ooh, shitballs. It's not a big problem, but there's actually quite a lot to explore in these stages. Now, you can see how fast I'm flying through them. You get through these things quick, but there are... Oh, it's close. There are lots of hidden secrets and paths and secret stages you can unlock, and hidden humans that can be saved, and they add to your overall score at the end. They take some finding. There's one. There was a hidden human. And you won't necessarily find them all... Well, you definitely won't find them all first time through. But the second you defeat all of the enemies on a stage, it boosts you off to the next stage. So you don't get a lot of chance to explore. And if you've not picked all the humans up, that's a big, fuck you as well. So you have to try and leave one alive sometimes. You have to try and leave one enemy alive whilst you collect the rest of the humans and whilst you have a little bit of an explore. That can be kind of annoying when you just, you just want to check the stages out and you've got some little twat chasing you around. But... It's a minor gripe. It's not a big deal. I kind of wish that after you'd killed everything, there was, it just give you a button prompt and you could press X to warp to next stage, or you could stay and explore a little bit more. But I kind of get why they've done it, because old arcades. Oh god, this is a fast one. I've bottled myself in a little bit here. Oh, I lost a human. And yes, and they eat them, and when they're oh look, blood splatters everywhere. He's very dead. And when they're dead and gone, they're dead and gone. You're fucked up. Either start if you want to do a perfect run, it's like you have to start the arcade mode over again. I'm not trying to do a perfect run. I enjoy just playing the game, so I'm happy to just survive. Oh shit. The enemy variety is good. Like there's a lot of them, and they mix things up as well. They don't always behave exactly the same, so they're not always super predictable. They don't have too many behavioural patterns. You're never going to be like, you never can't learn to get better. But you need to die. You need to be collected quickly. Whew. Your lives, you can see there in the top left-hand corner. They're just little helmets. You start off with 3, I think, and you can get more up to the number of 5, like I've got there. And after that, you just get extra score. Oh dear, this I don't like this section. You're mine. Collect that, blow up that, kill that, run away from that. There's obviously a variety of different ways of tackling things, like different enemies respond better to different, like this one for example, that one, yeah, little bastards come out of him when you blow him up, so it's better if you use the dash explosion, or the dash explosion, as I like to call it, to end him, because it destroys everything, like all the little things that are about to pop out of him as well, so you don't have to deal with them flying around like Beyblades from hell. Here is the second boss, Yeti Kong, or Mechapon as I like to call him. He just throws shit at you. So you've got these pink lasers bad. Most of the bullets in the game are either red or pink, so you just associate pink with not good. I think I just died. Yeah, I died. I thought I could kill him with a dash explosion and it didn't work. Grab it, run away. Oh, mind the giant rocks. I love the music. You could just take a second to take that in. So that is something absolutely worth mentioning about this game. The music is fucking brilliant. Oh, that was close. Oh, he's gone skull mental. And he's dead. Whew! They can get quite difficult. The early ones aren't so bad. Later bosses, very, very bad. And again, if you up the difficulty, drastically harder. Especially since the higher difficulties speed things up. I mean, not just the enemies, it speeds you up a little bit as well, but trying to keep track of everything at a faster pace than this can be a fucking nightmare. There's your score screen at the end, you get your human saved. So I'll say most of them. Some of them got eaten, some of them got left behind. I found one secret human, secret exits. Like you can see, there's just a lot of stuff, so points accumulate quick, and there's a lot to keep track of. So, you can play this game casually, but if you want to get good, it's an arcade game. Plenty of destructible environments as well. There's always something exploding to look nice, like me, for example. Yeah, if you like twin sticky shooters or arcade games at all, I would say this is one of the best that's ever been made. I've got very few problems with it. That's not to say I don't have any problems with it. There are a few little gripes, I would call them, but nothing that holds the game back from me saying like that. You know, there's nothing that I would hold against it too greatly. I hate these wheelie enemies because once you've destroyed them, they just spin like just Catherine wheels of death and go mental. They fly straight in your direction. Sometimes they're just a little bit too quick to avoid, especially if you're playing any of the faster difficulties. They can naff off. Oh, I've achieved a feat. That's something else I'll explain in a second. Die, please. Oh god. Wow, that's just a lot of things to kill. There's a lot going on at the screen at any one time, and the game never really skips a beat. I've not had any slowdown. You can turn off a lot of the voxel explosions and the level morphing and stuff if you want. I guess that's, you know, oopsie daisy, wasn't paying attention. I guess that's in case there is any lag. The only time I've experienced any slowdown whatsoever is in local co-op. In local co-op, when there was a lot going on, there was a little bit of slowdown. Not a lot, but a little bit. Just enough to be noticeable. I don't think it affected the game that much, but if you know, an absolute frame counting elitist, maybe it'd bother you, so it's there as an option, which is nice. Death, grab, bollocks, run, laser beam, laser beam, laser beam. I've run out of laser beams. Just keep dashing around like a madman. Yeah, my multiplier's up. Grab the shield, we need those. Shields are one of the most handy things you'll find in the game anywhere. They give you an extra hit, so it doesn't reset the stage. When you get hit, the game's very fast paced, so when you do get hit, you die. You die instantly, unless you've got a shield, and it restarts the stage over. So the enemy waves start again immediately, and you're just reset at the start. But like, instantly, it doesn't even fade to black, it just resets and starts over again, and it's off. Which I think is brilliant because it keeps the tempo up. You never, you know, it gives you that. You never think, oh, I'll probably just give up here because it's already thrown you back into the game. So you're like, oh, I might as well have another go, I guess. And you do. So here's another boss fight. The boss fights are different to. Whoopsie daisy, have an explosion. The boss fight sections or areas are different to the normal areas because when you get hit, it doesn't reset you. It doesn't start you back at the start of the boss fight. You get like a free pass, so you can lose all your lives just fighting against the boss, which I really like. The only thing I don't like about the boss sections is there's a little wave of enemies you have to fight in the area before you fight the boss. It makes you fight them every time you have to reset, so if you lose all your lives and have to use a continue, it doesn't just put you back at the start of the boss fight, it puts you back at dealing with that little wave of enemies. Not a big fan of that, just because some of the boss fights are really hard, and you have to do them over and over and over, and shit. It's the only time I've ever found myself getting given a wave of enemies and immediately thinking, oh, I can't really be bothered with dealing with them again, so maybe I just won't. And it's the only time in the game that I've thought about giving up. Like, other than that, it just keeps you in it constantly, so you just, you know, you're already doing it, so you might as well carry on, right? The only time it fell apart for me was in those boss fights when it kept putting me back every continue at the little round of enemies, and you lose a couple of lives because, you know, you weren't thrown straight back into the fight with the enemy, so you forgot their attack patterns, and you might lose a couple of lives that way, and you end up thinking, well, I've not got enough lives to beat the boss now, so I might as well just fucking die. So you'll suicide and start it over again, try and not fuck up so you can get back into it. It's the only time I found myself, yeah, it's everything else in the game pushes you to just keep going, and that's the only time that it slows you down and makes you do the same thing until you're bored of it. And now I know that's just something that used to happen a lot in old games. You know, I can tell you when I was playing my old Mega Drive games, Fire Shark, I must have played the first 3 stages of that game a bajillion times by now. Because if you die, it resets you and you have to do all the bit you don't want to do again. But that was always considered to be a bit of a problem with those games. So, you know, it's the only thing in here that I think didn't quite fit in, but that is one of my few minor complaints. The other one is those pink rings. That pink ring you just saw fly past me there, for some reason, I can't explain it, my brain won't acknowledge them as being dangerous, so I just don't avoid them. Like, for some reason I don't instinctually get out of the way. I just don't see them as something that I should have to avoid. Don't know why that is. Can't seem to train my brain to see that as an enemy or a bad thing. Maybe it's because they're not moving fast enough, maybe it's the shape. I don't understand it, but for whatever reason, on a sort of a subconscious level, I don't avoid them when I definitely should. Eat laser beams. If I could give you any advice in this game, it would be, yeah, play it on novice first and learn how to use the dash explosion to your advantage. Like, if you get the dash explosion and the triple dash, oh god, there's you know, you can really decimate some of the bigger enemies because it's like a one-hit kill, but you've got to get in and out in a second like that. Like I'll just do to this guy now to demonstrate, and this guy, because if you give them even a moment, they'll use that to end you because you don't stay invincible for long. Goodbye. Oh fuck, I fucked it. There we go. Oh fuck, I fucked it. There's a line. I mean, I'm by no means like an expert at these kind of games. I'm not brilliant at them, but I really enjoy them. I just wish I had more time to put into them. Oopsie daisy. I wish I had more time to put into them, really, because I'd like to get like ridiculously good, like you see some people out at these kind of things, but I always get distracted by the next big thing, and I always want to get another video out of something else I found that I think's awesome. So, you know, there's no time for me to get brilliant, but that's not going to stop me from playing them when I can. And these are great games for like one of the things I like about these kind of games and old school games is you can play them for an hour. You got a spare hour, you can quickly just, you know, pop one of these on, relieve some stress, blow some shit up, and then crack on. You don't really have to commit to them like you do with some of the bigger games. Yeah, if I was playing something like Metal Gear or Bloodborne, I'll sit down and that'll be my evening, and I'll spend like 5 or 6 hours playing those. These, no, I can just drop in, drop out, have a little bit of practice, have a little bit of fun, move on. And I like that. I don't want people to stop making games like this. Fuck you! Here's another boss fight, and I like how they introduce the attacks as, you know, the enemies in the stage before you will generally have an attack that the boss will use at the end, so it sort of prepares you for fighting the boss. You have a clue as to how to handle it. Doesn't mean you'll handle it well, like I just didn't, but it gives you a bit of a heads up. The only gripe I have with the bosses, or two little gripes really, is A, everything's pink. I wish they'd mixed up the attack colours, because sometimes they get lost in each other and it's a bit like, and I died by neon shuriken. The only other problem I have with the bosses is these skulls they fire out. They fire out like waves of skulls. It's like a skull explosion, and every boss does it. Every boss has the exact same attack, and it just feels a bit tacked on. Like, you know, like here he goes. Every boss does that in some form or another, and I don't know. I feel like, you know, there's all these interesting attack patterns that are unique to each boss, and then they just throw in, or they're almost all unique to each boss, and then they just throw in this explosion of skulls. Fuck you! Oh, I managed to kill him with a dash explosion. That was very satisfying. Good day. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it. It's the skull explosions that bother me. They're just a bit. It was like someone went, these sections aren't hard enough. And someone else went, have you thrown in the skull explosions? Yeah, we've already done that twice. Do it again. I'm not sure we can do it on every one of them. But couldn't we make it a bit more? No, skull explosions. I'm just not sure. Fuck you, Gary. And here's some labs that are quite cool, and every stage has like its own gimmick. It has a new thing that introduces, or a couple of new things that they introduce. This one, for example, being these. You can't dash through those. And trying to remember that when you're panicking, it's just, well, you won't, and they'll kill you a lot before you get your stupid head around it. Bye! I will have an extra life, thank you very much. We've got all new enemies have still been introduced, so we've got like lab-specific enemies. We've got these Lost in Space looking robots that have people inside them, so you have to actually save them from inside the robots, which is kind of cool. Yeah, I'm not going to go any further. I don't want to show you too much more because I think we're halfway through the game now, so you know, it is something that should definitely be experienced for yourself. It's such a fucking brilliant game. Moving on. So here's the first screen you come across. Arcade mode there is what I was playing on just then. Rookie, Expert, Veteran, and you unlock Master later on. I'm never going to see that. I'm aware that I'm never going to unlock Master. I'll probably never play it on Veteran, to be honest with you, because Experienced is kicking my ass, which I suppose is the equivalent of normal mode. But Rookie isn't easy, and that's Rookie. So you can imagine how bad this one is. We've got the online arena, which is like very end game. Like this is basically a challenge mode. And you unlock credits by completing, well, earning a certain amount of score. I mean, the best I could do so far, silver on the first one. I got enough credits to unlock another one, and you can unlock cosmetics with those credits as well that you earn from there. So if you go into, if I press my options button here, you go into your profile, you can unlock different profile pictures, change your bullet colour. I changed mine to white because there's nothing in the game that's that colour, really. None of the backgrounds or the enemy bullets are anywhere close to that colour, so I thought it'd stand out the most, so I've picked white. You can also change your character, which is alright, but there's not really much point to it, because apart from making him just blend into... You can make him exactly the same colour as the enemy bullets, which strikes me as massively... well, you know, if you want to make things even harder for yourself, why the fuck not? Yeah, you can change his helmet and things, and you know, I don't see the point in it because your character's that small, you can't really see him. I mean, I'm sat quite close to a fairly large telly, and I couldn't make out the differences. But if you're into that kind of thing, it's there. It's a nice afterthought. Then you've got your single world, so you can do like your time trials and things and challenges, and they're posted on online rankings. And local co-op is possibly the best way to play if you want to play it on the harder difficulties, I would say, because it just helps to have somebody helping you. Like, it's as simple as that. I mean, it is easier for you to get lost in the extra explosions and the, you know, try and keep track of what they're doing while you're doing all the extra clusterfuckery and yada yada yada. But generally, it is still easier to have just a mate helping you out. For some reason, there's no online co-op, which, you know, okay, a lot of these games don't have that, and you just come to accept that. But Resogun had it. And this game is very similar, and I don't get why they would take it away. You know, if they already had that capability, I don't get why this game wouldn't have that. But for whatever reason, it doesn't. So that's a shame. That's a little bit of a shame. But it's not the end of the world. You know, I mean, I'm not one of those people that struggles to have somebody play it with me. But if you are, then you know that could be a bigger problem for you. So. They just weren't thinking of those people. Feats are like achievements or trophies. It's just the game's version of that. And there's a lot of them. You get absolutely nothing for them other than it says you did them. Which, if you're into that kind of thing, it's there. I don't give a crap. Like, that means nothing to me. But, again, it's just that extra content, that attention to detail, that trying to cater for people of all tastes. I've got to admire it, even if it's not all for me. Why would it be? I do appreciate that it's in there. Options are all fairly standard, nothing really worth mentioning there apart from maybe in graphics. You can turn filters on so you can have grayscale and make it look more morbid and desolate futury. Retro, which is my favourite, but it does make it harder to play because it just makes things harder to see on the screen, but I do admire the wood grain telly finish around the edge of the frame there, and the fact that it slightly warped the image to make it look like it's on an old CRT TV. I can't stress enough how much I appreciate that kind of level of detail. Darker and edgier, and that's it. There's not many of them, but again, nice little afterthought. Can't knock it. So that's Nex Machina. I legitimately cannot get enough of this game. This is going to be something I'm going to be coming back to for a long time. And I've just bought the soundtrack on record because it's done by a guy called Ari Pulkkinen. He does a lot of video game music. It sounds like a rally driver. He did the music to Angry Birds, but I think after this we can forgive him. Also worth mentioning, this game is available for PC and PS4. Would I recommend you buy this? Abso-fucking-lutely. Like, I cannot stress enough how much this game should be bought. I'd say buy it and support the fact that someone's out there still making really good arcade games, but they've already said they're not going to be doing that anymore, which is a sad face, but you know, this still exists, so you could still play this, and again, I absolutely recommend you do. So, as usual, please like and subscribe, and if you have any opinions, thoughts, requests, that kind of thing, comments below, and I will see you next time.
Come get some.